Good afternoon. This is Umar Javed. I represent BGG Marketing, which is a real estate marketing and consulting company. I've already given a few humble sense about why this organization was needed and what do we intend to do with the company and how we tend to take this initiative forward. I've been thinking of making a video for quite some time, especially to cover some of the misconceptions that we've been seeing or hearing about regarding the real estate entities in Pakistan. And I think it's about time we address some of those issues. I'd also be going through some of the expert interviews or sessions with some of the big boys in the market that so to sort of cover the different kind of news that we hear regarding the real estate business in the country and how things are shaping up, the government policies and regulations. So stay tuned for that as well. But sort of taking the initiative forward, I just had three or four things that I really wanted to discuss with my views regarding the real estate. So the first things first, of course, the first thing that we come across are the issues related to the taxes. We've seen the FATF coming up with some of the taxes related to the real estate entities in terms of buying and selling. To come clean, the taxes are inevitable. Eventually, we are going to have the taxes implemented in this business. The buyers and the sellers both would be taxed. Of course, there's a certain relaxation of about odd 4 to 5 months because the government is already working on coming up with the right framework to enable it. So, for those who are thinking that they might sort of slip away with the taxes, no, it's not going anywhere. The taxes would eventually be implemented and they would become part of the real estate business. So we have to live with it. But the main point with which most of the people discuss, or which most of the people come up, is that would this affect the real estate business as of now? No, it would not affect the real estate business as a whole. Some of the more cosmopolitan cities such as Lahore, Karachi, Islamabad, they're not going to see that much negativity when it comes to the taxes because whether we like it or not, it has become a part and parcel of the product. So it's not something which is going away. We'll need to you know get used to whatever these taxes are. We'll need to understand that these taxes are here to stay, and eventually, because they're here to stay, these would not affect the real estate market or the real estate industry in the longer term. The second question which most of the people are discussing these days is what exactly to buy. There are a lot of files roaming around. When it comes to my expert opinion, or my humble 2 cents rather, I think what is more important is to get an on ground plot rather than a file. That's because when we talk about the files, it's something which is in thin air. We've got a lot of real estate entities, I don't want to name them, that normally have lesser number of plots, but they produce a lot of files which are much higher than the actual number of plots, and eventually people get stuck in it. The files, they do go up because of the hype, but then eventually they fall down. And the people who invest money in it, because most of the people are there for a short term investment, putting some pennies in, getting some profit, and then coming out. But that's not happening anymore. That's where the risk is. For those people who are seriously thinking of investing in real estate, I would highly recommend them to go for an on the ground plot rather than a file. The icing on the cake is that with these files and everything, like I said, they are more risky. So for those people who are just thinking of putting a few bucks in, say, 3 lakh, 4 lakh, and thinking that the files would go up, maybe for them it's a gamble. If they want to play with it, be my guest. But from an expert opinion, I would say for serious people who are really looking to buy a right kind of property, right kind of real estate, on ground plots are the name of the game. Moving on, another thing which we do hear a lot these days is how to evaluate the right product, how to evaluate the right kind of property, the right kind of real estate. Well, The answer is simple. It is very unfortunate that because most of us, or rather because the real estate itself is shaping up as an industry, we as the end users or the buyers do not indulge ourselves in reconfirming or verifying the claims that some of these societies make. We don't check if the title is clear, we don't check if the land is kosher, we don't check that if whatever has been said in those brochures or on the website is true or not. We just invest, seeing that four or five of other friends or colleagues have invested, so let's jump, let's abandon ship, let's do bungee jumping and just throw our money in and buy whatever most of the masses are buying. But gone are those old days. If you think that you're going to benefit like that out of real estate, please do not indulge yourself in real estate. The main emphasis, like most or like anything serious out there, is to do your investigation, is to do your verifications, and to check if whatever is being claimed is true. Do not rest yourself on promises, thoughts, ideas, and fake news that we don't have a proper possession right now, or we're looking for an LDA approval and eventually it happened. No, ask them if it exists, and if it does not exist, do not invest your money in that, because that is the pitfall, that is where the risk is. Always go out, see if the land that you're trying to buy, its title is clear, it is approved by LDA, CDA, GD, or whatever authority that it comes under. If it is not, that's the first red sign. So it is important to go forward for the right approved authorized land, and what is more important to that is to ensure that whatever land the company is claiming to have authorized, it actually exists there. What happens is generally that there are one or two blocks that are LD or GD or CD approved, and the company sort of sells off 8 blocks rather than just sticking with two which are approved. They sell off the entire thing, and eventually when a person buys off that land, at the end of the day eventually gets to know that yes, the first 2 blocks were approved but the remaining were not. And then there have been so many litigation cases, NAB, god knows, a lot of other things have come in. People have been visiting NAB, to National Accountability Bureau, to ensure that the invested money comes out. Some of it is recovered, but most of it is gone in thin air. So be careful. And the last thing which most of the people have been speaking or have been discussing in related to real estate is that for the last 2 to 3 months we've seen a hype in terms of the cost of the real estate. The rates of the plots, the rates of the real estate have gone up. That is correct. So we do have some people, or a certain group of people that think that it's not the right time to invest because the rates have seen a rise, or a high rise rather, and they're considering, or they're thinking that maybe in the next 3 to 4 months they're going to experience a dip. So that is something which has been out there, and people have been sort of sticking with their guns, holding their money back, waiting for that dip to happen, and then to eventually buy off what they've been thinking to buy off. Well, to my humble understanding, like I said, if it's a file, if it's something which is majorly in files, yes, things can go haywire and the rates can come down. But when we talk about on the ground plots and property, in the last 18 to 19 years since I've been associated, been buying and selling, I have not seen the rates of real estate come down. And we're talking about the right kind of real estate, the on ground plots. It's a simple phenomena. If you walk into a society and you see that there are about 10 houses being built, and after 2 to 3 months you go back and you see about 50 to 60 houses being built, there is no way that those rates are going to come down, because with the passage of time the new construction is eventually going to come in. People are going to start building houses, the society is going to start building its infrastructure, new roads, new tanks, water tanks, new parks, new avenues and everything, and the rates would eventually increase with the passage of time. They're not coming down. Yes, for files, those people that would want to indulge themselves in files for pennies or profits, well, like I said, like I already iterated it earlier on, it's a gamble. For them, yes, the rates might come down. There might be some time, say till May, June, that the rates would fall and they can invest again. But I'm against that framework anyway to get into to get into files. So for serious buyers who are actually out there to procure the right kind of real estate for a comparatively longer period of time, to ensure that their the investment that they're making will eventually bear fruit, they need to invest now. They don't need to wait for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, because eventually the rates would go much higher than this, because of the construction, because of the new infrastructure and everything which would eventually happen in all these societies that are selling land. So you don't need to back off, you need to come up front and make the right choice now. But like I said, you need to make sure that the choices that you make are verified, confirmed, and whatever the society is claiming, it needs to be tested and verified. And